Hi everyone. This talk is regarding our paper on decomposing deep neural network into modules. First, we discuss about what is decomposition in software development, what is monolithic software and decomposed software. Then we talked about the four aspects of the decomposing, and we focused on the reusability and replaceability. Then we discussed about the deep neural network in current state and how making any change to module can be done by either retraining or using transfer learning, and what are the pros and cons of it. Then we discussed three scenarios of the reusability and the replaceability and what the developers would have done in that scenario and how our approach works. Then we discuss about our decomposition approach. First, we talk about concern identification. Then we discuss about the tangling identification, various techniques we have applied in the tangling identification. And finally, we discuss about the concern modularization. In concern modularization, we have concern modular channeling and concern modularization when removing irrelevant edges. And finally, we discuss about our experiments. We use the four different data set: MNIST, Fashion MNIST, KMNIST, and EMNIST. And we use the 16 different handmade models. And we answer three research questions like how efficient are the decomposed modules? And then we talked about the how does modularity in DNN enable reuse? And finally, we talk about does modularity in DNN enable replacement? Then we discussed all the results at a glance, like for the research question, how efficient decomposed module, we found that decomposed modules are significantly different and they perform the same or the better. And does modularity in DNN enable reuse? And does modularity in DNN enable replacement? We have found that both reuse and replacement is possible, but there is cost involved. Thank you.